Joining me is Sky News Political Editor Andrew Clennell. Andrew Clennell, thank you so much for joining me. Peter Dutton refuses to go to the Albanese government's job summit next month. I think that's appropriate. The opposition there is there really to scrutinise, is not to be part of the government and then complicit in whatever's going on. But his deputy opposition leader, David Littleproud, the Nationals leader, has said yes. Now, to me, this is dumb for the reason I just gave, plus it makes Dutton look bad.
Yeah, it surprises me because Littleproud and Dutton are mates. You would have thought they would have sorted it out, but I guess Littleproud wants to look like he cares about the regions and has decided to go his own way. The government will be happy they've managed to split them. It seems a tactic by the government now. They invited Dutton and then Julie and Lisa when Dutton refused up for the Garma Festival and the announcement on The Voice. Now it's the Jobs Summit. I think they're trying to isolate Dutton, make him look like he's the man of yesterday with a bunch of men in suits behind him. It may work politically for a time for the government, but I don't think it's a much moment in the sense that if things go badly for the government, Dutton is well liked enough in the community to take advantage, and that was clear from the last news poll. And I'm with you on this one, actually. I think that you are meant to scrutinise the government, and if you're in the room and part of it all, how can you properly do that? So it's clearly a political tactic by Labor, and he's not falling for it.
The Job Summit, by the way, now I reckon it's already in some danger of going off the rails, Labor's Job Summit next month. It's going to be stacked with union officials as well as, big business, etc., including the head leaders of the ACTU, which has put out a manifesto of demands, which sounds to me socialist, if not some of them from the Soviet Union, like price controls on energy, a tax on the good profits that coal and gas companies are making now, an extra tax, plus an end to the final stage of the personal tax cuts for richer Australians and more. How do you think this summit is going to go when you've got this intransigent kind of list of demands that no one's going to be able to agree to, surely?
Well, that's right. The government doesn't want any of those because they create political problems. So whether it's an ambit claim and they come to some arrangement with the unions, of course the unions donate to the Labor Party. They're a big part of it. They create the Labor Party in a sense. And 30% of the floor will be the unions. So this might be more difficult than they thought for the government. But look, you were around. I was in primary school when the Hawke did the economic summit. That proved effective with the Prices and Incomes Accord. And then a tax summit, Keating, in 85, and that was less effective because he wanted a GST and then he won an election 8 years later campaigning against it. I think it's going to be quite an interesting moment for the government. Those things compare more favourably than Rudd's 2020 summit, which we know was a great waste of time. Do you sense a pattern here? Anyway, look, the ACTU aren't doing the government any favours at all.
Yeah, but the analogy you make, and it's a very interesting contrast. It's not an analogy so much as a contrast. That job summit with the Hawke government and the ACTU, led by Bill Kelty at the time, very, very different because the unions had huge coverage then. They have a very small coverage now, and they were prepared to make concessions, lower the wage demands in exchange for an accord which would give them various government benefits, their workers various government benefits.
High unemployment then, though.
In the union.
That's the difference.
It's also in the interest of the bosses at the time. I don't see any such agenda here. Where's the agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you could say if you don't know what to do, you hold a summit. And then you have a white paper.
That's exactly
the
right.
white paper, so they said the summit, so I just sort of thought, well, that sounds fair enough, you know. And then they said, and then we'll have a white paper and that will take 12 months. And I went, uh-oh. You know, you want to be careful what you wish for there. We remember the Henry tax review came late in the term and it spelt big trouble for Kevin Rudd. That's what concerns me. They say there'll be immediate actions after the summit, and then we'll have to wait another 12 months. That's just not really going to cut it, in my opinion.
Well, it seems to me like a government that's looking for ideas and is just casting a hook on a line in the waters and hope that something will nibble.
Like the last guys. Like the last guys. They used to do a bit of that as well.
Yes, true enough. Andrew Clennell, thank you so much indeed for your time.